Hey Dan, Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely, as always, Mike. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, so it's been a big couple weeks of wrestling since we last talked, and we wanted to maybe do a little bit of a recap and then do some previews of Princeton and Rutgers and Ryder. Um, you want to you want to jump in right into the Ryder stuff and then kind of just go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Ryder, I'm going to actually go, with the scuffle recap on them.
Okay.
I think what we found out is and we're going to try to do this quick because obviously we got a lot of things to talk about. So if we miss people, sorry, but we're
Yep.
just trying to get this done. So it looks like 133 is probably still unsettled for Ryder. They had Kohler. He advanced the most.
Oh,
Not sure if they really solidified anything with 133 for Ryder on there. And then you jump to 141. You had LaPerry, just transferred in obviously from Rutgers.
yep.
So this kind of was going to be his breakout, see how he could do. And he went 1-2, and then also they had Herb Edwards in there who went 0-2. And then we haven't seen Cleary since really this early December.
I think he's
So
off the
I think
team.
it's
I think I think
Oh,
I
okay.
think he left the team.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
there you go.
I thought we'd see a little more from Lipari. I'm not sure if he was in great shape. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he did transfer in, so he's a qualifier. I was expecting a
Yeah,
little more.
yeah, and like you said, I mean, maybe it could be just getting back into the room and getting back into wrestling college guys is
Yeah.
so hopefully I like Pete, so I hopefully he could bounce back and get things rolling again. Jumping up to 157, you had Della Vecchia. I hope I'm saying that right. He placed second, had a pretty good tournament. He beat Rutgers Van Brill 14-5, and as those two, I think, as anytime they're going to wrestle, you're going to see some close to going to fist flying in that. So some of that was definitely was happening, but I
Yeah.
think all in all, he was pretty much handled the match. Vecchia lost in the finals to number two in the country, Hidley, 10-0. So he got pretty much handled in that loss, but still coming out second. Great tournament for him.
He's had a really tough season. So he's wrestled Monday two times, won, then lost just before the scuffle. Then Hidley as well. I mean, he's going to be battle tested. Uh, Van Brill, the one thing I'm going to say, when he came in at Rutgers, I'm on the record. I love the way he and his brother John wrestled. I thought
Sure.
he was going to develop a little more. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know if he's been nicked up with injuries. I don't know.
I don't know. I think maybe more in the past years was more of the weight cut, but now going up to 57, it should not be an issue. The weight, maybe it's too much weight though. He came in as a 141 pounder,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard to say.
I will just say that one thing about Della Vecchia, Hidley, super strong guy.
Sure.
Monday has range and strength, but I think he's going to be a problem for guys at nationals who have never felt him. He's so funky, so crazy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yes.
we didn't do a wrap up, or did we, of the Princeton Rider duel?
I
But
don't think we did, but we both were at the
yeah,
match.
we were there, and Monday really made some nice adjustments for him.
Yep.
Anyway, that we're going on, but he's an interesting wrestler. New Jersey's deep there, especially at Ryder and Princeton at 57.
Sure. Yep, definitely. And so you jump up, then you go to 174. You had Sherry. He was seated. Uh, he was the fourth seed. He finished sixth. So not crazy. He didn't fall off big time, but he went 4-3 in the tournament. But nothing crazy there. But then honestly, I was most impressed honestly with Ethan Laird. He was the eighth seed. He took third. He had a win over Gear and Michael Beard from Penn State. Gear obviously from Oklahoma State, and then he lost 3-0 in the semifinals to Noah Adams, who was the eventual champion there, and actually Adams pinned Traxler from Stanford. So Beard could be said probably was the second best guy in the tournament that weekend. So uh,
Absolutely, that was a real good run for Ethan Laird, and he came in after a tough match with Brucky.
yep,
You actually scored some points on Brucky. but finishing third in that bracket was no
Yeah,
joke.
no joke at all.
It
Yeah.
might have been the deepest bracket, I thought, weight class there.
Yeah, because I think, honestly, I think the scuffle was down a little bit this year compared to past years, and I agree that this weight was not. When you need guys like Gear and even Michael Beard, who's still in redshirt for Penn State, but certainly a very good wrestler.
Now, I didn't talk to anybody from Oklahoma State, but the Gear match really, that says something. That kid's a stud.
That's big.
Right, he's a stud, and that's a big win for Laird. And I thought he was going to make more of a jump last year. I think he lost. Did he lose in the round of 16?
I believe he did, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe this is him stepping up a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, and we kind of you mentioned it. The scuffle was down, maybe in depth a little bit. So there were some more openings there. Beard had a nice win earlier in the season at an open. I can't remember who he beat. Somebody.
Well, he's definitely had some great wins this season, Beard. And actually, I think I don't want to say this and be wrong, but I think he came back. Did he come back and actually beat Gear in the wrestlebacks? I'm going to pull it up, so I don't want to say. So he lost to Traxler 9-7. So that's he actually beat Gear. So Beard did come back and beat Gear 10-5. He's 13-3 on the season. So he's having a great year.
Yeah.
He did lose to Greg Bolsek earlier the year, 11-8. But he's right there. He beat Nick Reenan in the Southern Scuffle.
Dominating 1-0. I saw the match. It was as dominating as you can be at 1-0. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, hold down a guy like Reenan for the whole period is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And then Pagano, he beat Pagano. He beat him up pretty good, 9-0. Who's a ranked guy. So.
Yeah. Trying to think what I was going to say about that. So right now, Ryder's going into the Virginia duels next after having a pretty good, reasonable scuffle there. I think a little mixed.
Mixed. Yep.
And that's coming up on the 10th and 11th. The brackets aren't out for that, but. Who's there? It's Duke, Fresno State, Kent State, Maryland, Old Dominion, Penn, Virginia. It's a little bit smaller.
I would say that, Mike, is in the past years what they've done. They've had like 12 teams, maybe even up to 16 teams, and they would do these pools. So you would have 4 teams here, 4 teams here, 4 teams here, do some round robins, and then match up the winners of your pool. You wrestle each other. But with it only being 8 teams this year, what it looks like what they are going to do is just one 8-man bracket. I don't know if it'll come across well or not, but this is how the bracket will be.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't know, as you mentioned, we don't know who's seated where. But if I did my own calculations, and this is certainly nothing official, I had Virginia getting the 1 seed, Rider getting the 2, Penn the 3, Fresno State 4, Old Dominion 5, Kent State 6, Maryland 7, and Duke 8, which if that held true, you would get Rider Maryland first round, and then the winner of that would get the Penn Kent State winner. But, obviously this is just me playing around, having a little fun with that. Right. So they can get 3 or 4 matches. How that works is if you go for first place, you'll get 3 matches. And if you're going to go for 7th place, you would get 3 matches. If you're going for 3rd or 5th place, you have to win different matches. You actually will get 4 matches. So That's how that'll be.
So it is a little bit smaller field. And, this year has been a funny year just for all the teams with the Olympic training cycle.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Midlands looked a little down, scuffle. Then, at South Beach, everybody's doing something a little bit different. Some teams are taking time off.
You saw a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's an unusual year, and I'm guessing that the average fan might be looking forward to next year's D1 season maybe be more interesting, but the complexity of this year is, I think it's more interesting to a serious fan who is just looking at all the moving pieces. Some of these coaches like, Sanderson or Brands are thinking about getting their guys on the Olympic team and winning the national title. So it'll be an interesting few months coming up.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything on this, but I'm almost wondering if the South Beach duels are going to go away. And I just say that because we had to wait so long to find out who was going, who the matchups were. I was reaching out to different people. I know Seton Hall Pirate was reaching out to people to try to get these brackets so we could get them up to the fans, and there was really hush hush and really a lot of no communication from them, and you saw a lot less teams this year there as well. So I think if they do away with that, that's probably going to help back the Midlands and the Southern Scuffle, because that's took away from teams from that. So
Yeah, there's an interesting political cloud over that event. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But it's
sure.
Either you're interested or you're definitely not. And I like the idea of these guys getting to go somewhere warm.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, because they are doing the toughest sport there is.
Yep.
I'm not sure Midlands is ideally located for a kind of a balmy getaway.
Sure. I'll say this, Mike. I was recently, actually, just a couple hours ago, was going through with checking the upcoming duels on WrestleStat, make sure I got them all. And I noticed that there's actually going to be a big duels tournament that's going to be in Phoenix, Arizona on the January 11th. So that is certainly another nice place to go. But there's going to be a lot of teams there. It looks like you got Arizona State, you got Campbell, you got Harvard, Iowa State. And I thought there was two more teams, but it looks like it's those four teams. And so if they can build off of that, if they want to build something, Phoenix is a great place to go to, especially in January.
Totally. Yeah. That's cool that ASU is trying to build something there, and maybe after the holiday season, so it takes some of the pressure off of all the the academics and the holiday, getting all the other tournaments. So hopefully they can keep building there.
I love dual tournaments too. I really do. I do like it. I like seeing the team aspect, and it's a lot easier for fans to follow. And you'll get what you see a lot in these later rounds of the Scuffle and the Midlands on the Wrestlebacks. You've seen a lot of medical forfeits out. Guys just don't want to hang out, and but in the dual meet format, you're not going to see that. Exactly. Guys are going to be there to wrestle because it means something for your team.
Absolutely. And, it's one of those things where if NCAA would just make an adjustment, there's so many teams like Penn State. Who are they? If Kassar is out, are they going to pull a red shirt, Seth Nevels, or are they going to go to somebody who is the 250th ranked guy who's there because he's a good wrestler, but
sure.
And it's one of these things where if the rules were a little more conducive, just in the tournament format, you could see someone wrestle back as opposed to medically. Anyway, I'm just gonna let it go with that, and I'm hoping the NCAA makes some changes. And
we definitely need to see where they go to where that football, where you could wrestle, where you could play 4 games, to where maybe something in wrestling that you could wrestle 4 dual meets or something like that. Going to help with format, with things like this for teams as well.
Yeah, I would say I'm for 4 postseasons and no more than 7 total seasons. So you can have a red shirt, you can have an Olympic red shirt, you can have an injury shirt, but you don't get more than 7.
And you don't get more than 4 postseasons. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It takes away all the, because once a rule is bent, I'm pretty sure Nick Sirianno was released from Penn State because there was, I think, a female athlete in Virginia who was homesick. And that was the precedent they used. So let's just stop all this stuff, and let's just make it easy for them. All the judgment calls. A couple other things I just wanted to throw out. Some high school wrestling notes. I know we're in the middle of college, but there's been a ton of high school wrestling. I just want to throw out that Wyoming Seminary has been looking really, really strong right now. They've done well at Ironman, Beast, Powerade. I know Blair is missing a couple studs. Master Giovanni, Shane Van Ness. I'm not sure when they're coming back. I know they're supposed to be hosting the Blair Duels next weekend, or the Prep Duels. A little mystery there. I think Malvern is pulled out. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know if it'll just be them and Del Barton, which was all that I knew about to begin with, or if they're going to add somebody. So Blair's been finishing kind of second. Malvern Prep has come out from unranked to probably the top 5. Pretty young team. And there's been a lot of shuffling going on. People like Bo Bartlett have lost matches who are
Sure.
projected as a top guy. So it's been an exciting high-level high school wrestling season if you're a fan. So just keep your eye on the rankings. And what are you guys going to start following and putting matches in there at WrestleStat?
As soon as someone wants to pay us to do this full time. So,
Gotcha.
So if anyone's out there that wants to do that, myself and my partner Greg would be happy to make WrestleStat every college division and get into high school as soon as someone wants to pay us, so I don't have to go to work every day and be up till past midnight putting in the results and everything like that. So honestly, it's something we would love to do, and truly we're looking out and reaching out to people trying to see if we can do something like that. It would be fantastic if we could. I mean, even like you mentioned a couple shows ago, maybe even doing freestyle and stuff like that,
Right.
having all that in there. Senior level freestyle, there's no reason why we can't do it. It's a matter of time to do it. That's the thing. We're both full time, and we work full time, have full time families. You know, he's in Iowa, I'm here in Jersey, so you know, it's tough. But you know, if we could make it a full time job and make a living doing it, we would be happy to do that. Roll WrestleStat out for everything. Yep.
And the one thing I'll say about just that is how hard it is if you're providing content is to get an advertiser is the saturation of content right now. And, WrestleStat is one of those places that is just a resource to every real fan, even the casual. It's always there, and it's one of the best resources I know of wrestling on the internet.
Well, we appreciate that, but yeah, and you know, we try not to hit you with a lot of ads or anything like that, but you know, we're just trying to put out the data in there. We get a lot of crap for our rankings, and you know, it's nothing personal. It's just put results in, you know, and we're tweaking them. When I say we, I'd say Greg is tweaking them and trying to get them better. But you know, there's things out there. A lot of guys, if you get a freshman in there and he starts pinning a lot of guys, even if they're not great guys, he gets those bonus points. That's going to up his ranking a lot, and it shouldn't be. There's something, you know, we have to figure something out on that. So,
well, for as a free site that you are, and the minimal amount of ads, you know, someone like Willie who spends hours and hours doing rankings, right? You're entering data, hundreds of matches, thousands of matches. You don't want to also then go in there and tinker all the time. So I get the algorithm. I don't get upset.
That's for the off season.
Yeah. All right. What do you want to start with? You want to start with North Jersey or South Jersey?
Whatever you want to go. So we go with Ryder. You want to go Princeton?
Sure. Let's go Princeton.
Princeton's going south, right?
Yep. So Princeton has a road trip coming up here, and well, actually, do you want to talk a little bit about what do we have here? A little bit of talk a little bit about Sean Pearson.
Yeah, I just wanted to give Sean a nice shout out because, you know, he's been up there wrestling 133. He's a 25-pounder. He's going in there, you know, taking the spot just to help the team out and wrestling for Agazy, who, you know, was banged up a little bit and, you know, kind of seems like gets hurt a lot. So Pearson doing a great job going up there to 33, holding the spot. Was able to go down to 125 this past weekend. And when I say this past weekend, it was just yesterday. And wrestled at the Franklin and Marshall Open at 125, and he took first place going 5-0. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. You know, we're watching him.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, people don't realize just how hard it is to change a weight class, and going up is not easy.
Yeah.
You know, one of two Nazareth alumni from Pennsylvania on the Princeton team, and you can get discouraged even at that level. And he's had a hard season, and going down to his natural weight and winning is a pretty cool thing. So
pretty cool thing for him. So yes, give him a shout out.
Yep. So Princeton's on the road in January, coming up this weekend. They're going to North Carolina and then NC State, and that should be a pretty good weekend for them. They have already had a really tough schedule. Right, the no joke. They had Iowa after a red eye from Oklahoma State, and so the coaching staff is hardening these guys. What do they say? Burn the ships. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. And they're going to go to UNC first on the 10th. UNC comes in. I'm not sure. What does WrestleStat have him ranked at? I have
We
him
got
at
him at
17.
20th, and
20,
we got
okay.
Princeton at 15.
Okay. I got 11 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me, and that's just arbitrary.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
So there's a number of really good matchups here. We could start at 25. We got Pat Glory, who's coming in ranked. I have him at number 3 versus Joey Melendez, probably around 35.
Yeah, we would have Pat Glory at 4 and 40 for Melendez. So
Gotcha.
right, yep.
And Glory is having a really good season. We've talked about him knocking off a guy who's really dominated, Nick Piccinini, this year. And to me, when I look at that, Melendez, I just don't think he can handle Glory's attacks and the angles. Glory's angles and level changes are just superb right now. And I just love watching him. He's like, can't miss wrestling.
No, he's extremely fun to watch. He's hasn't disappointed all year. So he's been there. Went to Midlands. I'm not saying that Spencer Lee ducked him, but I'm saying that he went there. Pat Glory wrestled everyone that was in front of him.
Yeah.
Really had a really good match with Brock Huskins from Indiana, and I think it was in overtime, and then Huskins had a default for injury. So that was a really close match. And then he had Michael DiAugustino from Northwestern in the finals, and he beat him 4-0, and he just controlled him at that 4-0. But again, Glory has shown up to wrestle Spencer Lee twice, and Spencer Lee did not wrestle him. Again, not saying he ducked him. Spencer Lee's a 2-time national champion. He could take him on my team anytime. So.
Absolutely, I know what you're saying. But they did put Cashman out in the duel, and so he's wrestled Iowa twice this year and hasn't seen him. And I will just say I'm looking forward to that match. I thought Glory, right? And I'm basing this off the Piccinini win. He looks like he's made a jump this year.
He has.
And being able to get out from under Piccinini, that's no easy task. So anyway, I'm going Glory bonus points, and it's really, to me, how many bonus points? 5 or 6, and I'm taking 5.
That's exactly what I have written down. So.
Okay, I'm taking 5. I'm going for the major. Going up to 133. We got, I think, will be Jamie Hernandez, and we're guessing it could be Pearson, but it might be a Gazy. I don't know.
Yeah, Gazy did. So he was wrestling and took at the Franklin Marshall Open. So he went to Midlands.
Yep.
And then also just yesterday he was at Franklin Marshall Open. He won his first match, and he didn't get hurt during a match, but he did. He got his one match in and then took the rest of the day off. So I'm hoping it was just precautionary, and hopefully everything's fine. He would have had a great match because he would have had Jordan Decatur from Ohio State, who they just pulled his red shirt. So it would have been nice to see that match, but I just hope he's okay and he's there this weekend because honestly, I think Princeton's going to need him to win the duel. So again, hopefully he's there. And for North Carolina, they obviously Jamie Hernandez has been getting the starts. He wrestled twice yesterday. They had 3 duels and he wrestled 2 of them. So and one of those duels was against Bridges from Wyoming, and he lost that match 4-2. So Hernandez, very good wrestler. I meant to mention on North Carolina 25. They've actually Melendez actually hasn't wrestled since December 1st. So they had Timothy Decatur, no relationship to Jordan Decatur, wrestled 2 duels yesterday. Had 3 duels up at Army, and Decatur wrestled 2 of them. And he was 0-2 yesterday. And then Jeremy Derby wrestled against Doyle Trout, and he won that match. So that's also going to help with, I believe, Glory getting additional bonuses that, there's probably a good chance that Melendez is not wrestling. But
not Melendez. I'm going from a major to a pin.
Okay. So and I could say, like I said, we both had a 5-6, so it's either one of those. So, yeah. Yeah,
and at 33, I think it's kind of a toss-up if a Gazy's there. And, as much as I like Pearson's grit, I just don't think he's big enough for the weight. He'll go out and wrestle, and I think he'll lose to Hernandez if he goes up there.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Don't send me the hate mail, Nazareth. I know I upset you guys.
Come on, we just gave the kid a nice shout
Yeah,
out.
we did. But someone from Nazareth has been bugging me on, we'll say on YouTube, left me messages I cannot allow to be posted. Anyway, going up to 41.
Who you taking in 33?
I'm taking a Gazy in a toss-up, and I'm taking if he's wrestling versus Hernandez, and I'm taking Hernandez over Pearson if Pearson is in the lineup. And that's really just a size thing for me.
Definitely.
So going up to 41, we got Marshall Keller, and I'm thinking it's Zach Sherman.
Yeah, I would say Zach Sherman would be the guy. Yep.
Yep. Keller is coming. He has had a pretty good season. He's had some tough matches, but he had a really strong Franklin and Marshall Open, but he didn't wrestle anybody tough.
Right.
I think his last loss was it the Campbell match? Otherwise, he's had some good wins, but he has not beat anybody in the top 20. So it's one of those things where can his motor keep him competitive with Sherman? Because I think Sherman is a little bit better. I've only seen Sherman wrestle a little bit, and we think Sherman's going to wrestle.
Yeah, I think so. He wrestled 3 matches yesterday, so yeah, he should be there.
One of the things about Sherman the only time I watched him wrestle was last season. When he has his attack, he finishes really quickly, and that is just one of those things that's hard to scramble through. So I'm taking Sherman, unless Keller can break his motor, on him. You push him till he's tired.
Yeah, I got Sherman also by a decision. As you mentioned, that Franklin Marshall Open, Keller did win it. I really wanted to see him against Doug Zaff, but Pennsylvania Penn took medical forfeited out of that match, and I think that would have been a good one, a good test there for Keller.
Would have been a great gauge.
Yeah, so that would have been a good one. Otherwise, I didn't see anyone really in the bracket. Brian Courtney beating him was a good win, but also I think Rutgers had a guy that was in that match with Courtney, lost in overtime to Andrew Gappis, who is not a world beater, let's just say. So, I also got Sherman in a decision in that match.
Gotcha. All right. So right now we're moving up to 49. This is one of those matches that could be a marquee matchup to me. It's number one Austin O'Connor versus I have Mike D'Angelo around 15. I haven't been. So what do you have him wrestle stat?
We have him, I believe, at like 18 so he's right around there. He's are we going to get the Mike D'Angelo that we saw wrestle Iowa, wrestle Lugo, or are we going to get the one that we just saw at where was he at the Scuffle or Midlands? Where was they were at Midlands where he ended up losing to an NAIA kid who is a very good wrestler. I'll say that. He just happens to wrestle in the NAIA. So he got pinned in that match and then medical forfeited out. So, so who do we see? That's the question because, that's the last I saw of him was Midlands, and that's what I saw. I saw him getting pinned. So.
And O'Connor, so last year O'Connor lost to Kolodzik in a close match at Princeton, and his only loss this year is to Lugo, who D'Angelo gave a really, that was a big deal, right? So
it's weird how that
was it sudden victory?
Well, it was definitely an overtime, and they did go to was it a takedown or was it the ride outs? Let me see here. Yeah, so it was TB1, so it was the ride outs. Yeah.
So anyway, this could be a really close match, or if D'Angelo is not mentally there, I could see O'Connor opening it up and getting a bonus point win here. He is strong, he's tough, he's a tough guy on top, and he'll make you. The thing about O'Connor is if you get out of position, which D'Angelo's scrambling sometimes puts him out of position.
Sure.
I think O'Connor will capitalize on that more than Lugo did in that match. So otherwise, I hope it's competitive because they're local to me and I cover them, but I could see O'Connor opening it up.
Yeah, I have it as a decision for O'Connor, but I agree with you. It could be. O'Connor has a bonus rate of 67% this year, so that's pretty high. Last year and the year before, he was at 40%, so that's probably more in tune to what he is. He wrestled at the Cleveland State Open and got all bonuses, so I'm sure that's
That helps.
skewing his numbers a little bit. But he so he certainly can still bonus though, even if he's at the 40% range. So, he's I got him for a 3-point decision, but like you said, he could come away with a bonus there.
All right. Going up to 57, we have Quincy Monday, who is having himself a heck of a season, versus AC Headley. Monday's only loss this year is to he lost to Hartman at Midlands. That's right, and then
Right.
came back and then lost to Della Vecchia.
Yes.
And AC Headley is coming in. Who did he just lose to? He just lost.
Well, he might have just lost, but he also just beat Hartman yesterday. So
yeah, he did beat Hartman, and that's right. That's right. And at Midlands, he lost to Coleman and DeVos from South Dakota State, which was like maybe you never know. You're sick. Something's not right. The point is, this should be a good match. As much as O'Connor, I think, has an edge on D'Angelo, I think Monday has a pretty good edge here over Headley. Monday is my sleeper pick for a national championship or a finalist. He is strong, slick. He's not winning the hard way like he did last year. He learned a lot,
right.
I think, from last year's experience. So I'm taking him. I don't know if he can get the bonus points, but I know the coaches are talking to him every practice about turning his motor on and keeping it up and starting to blow people out.
Yeah.
I have a 5-point decision. What do you think?
You got a 5-point decision. Yeah. Not 5 team points. Winning by 5. Gotcha.
Winning by 5. Yep.
Yeah, I have Monday also in a decision. It could certainly be a 4-2 match type of a match. I don't see him losing. Sometimes Headley gets into some situations where he could end up on his back, and if Monday could catch him, even better for Princeton. But he's he's a tough guy. He just beat Hartman, who Quincy lost to in overtime a couple weeks ago. So I think you have to say a decision though here.
Yep. Going up to 65, Quincy's brother Kennedy Monday will start for North Carolina, and we're assuming Grant Cuomo has taken the spot at 65 for Princeton, or at least I am.
I am as well. Yeah. Sure. Uh-huh.
And Kennedy comes in at 20. I don't know. Do you guys have Cuomo ranked?
We have him 37th. So.
Gotcha. I will say that I like his motor. I like his kind of go get it. I am not sure that he is going to be in this match. I think Kennedy, I don't think has made as many jumps right now as Quincy did. Now, he was banged up last year. I don't know if he got as much mat time. But, Cuomo will put himself in some crazy positions, at the Ryder duel, and at the Princeton Open. I just saw him in some, and his big motor. I'm not sure he's strong enough to pull off some of those crazy positions against Kennedy Monday.
Yeah. I mean, he wrestled a lot of matches at that Princeton Open, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he probably went into the wrestlebacks and just started reeling off wins. And then went to the Midlands a couple weeks ago. Was 2-2, but he medically forfeited out for his second loss. So I'm not sure if he was banged up or not. But I mean, on the season, he's 10-2. Not certainly not counting that medical forfeit. So he's a gamer. I also have Kennedy Monday with the win there. It's 65, right? Midlands long. Okay. What did I have? Who? Okay. I'm sorry, I wrote something on the wrong spot, so okay. my bad.
I'm going to give Kennedy a regular decision, and the way I have this match falling out, I think that UNC is going to need bonus points if they're going to win. this match. So that's my pick right there. I'm taking Kennedy, and I don't think he's going to bonus point Como. The only thing I could see bonus points if he catches him in a bad scramble and pins him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Caveat City.
Oh yeah. No, I also have Monday in a decision. Yep.
All right. Going up to 74. We've got Kevin Parker versus Clay Lout, I think.
Yep, that's what I got. Yep.
And Parker has had, he had a pretty tough Midlands. I think he went 1-2. I didn't look it up, but I know he also crushed at Franklin and Marshall yesterday. Not against anybody in the top 50 probably, but it's always a big confidence builder. Did you catch any of those matches?
I watched the tournament from my computer, so I did. I was catching matches here and there, let's say, and man, he made pretty quick work. He had 3 tech falls and a pin, and then a regular decision. So, yeah, I don't think he saw much mat time.
Yeah, and then Lout, I'm hoping I'm not messing up his name. He comes in, he's ranked between 20 and 25, maybe. But the thing that caught my eye is, he beat Ben Harvey, and Ben from Army in sudden victory. I'm not sure Harvey has had as good a year as last year. I think he was a little bit banged up early in the season, but that's a substantial win. And Harvey's our top 20. Has been a top 20 guy. Yep. So I'm giving Lout the edge, the clear edge right now, because I don't think Parker has the muscle right now to hang with him. Because Harvey's a strong dude. Lout must be a strong guy too.
Yeah, and then the other thing I had on this match written down, and I actually had it written in 165. That's why I was going off last match. But Lout in the Midlands this year, they were both there. Lout had they had a common opponent in Tyler Dow. Lout beat him 6-1. Parker lost to him 12-3. Just because it's one guy doesn't mean anything. Different styles and all, but that's just something to think about. I'm also giving Lout the 3-point decision there,
Gotcha. Points. Yep, I'm going to hedge my bets there. I think I'm going to give him a major decision.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Well, you could see that. Yeah.
Going up to 84, we have Travis Stefanik versus Joey Mazzara.
Mazzara, yeah. That's what I'm showing.
And, interesting season. Stefanik has been up and down. I think maybe a little bit inconsistent. His biggest win was the Brands win. And from my opinion there, he's lost close to like Assad at Midlands, but you can, it's one of those things in sudden victory. Yeah. It's always easier to lose close than to win close. He comes in ranked probably, what do you have, like in the 30s?
Yeah, 39.
39. Mm-hmm. And Mazzara is probably, I think, a higher or a
He's
lower.
He's definitely closer to 70.
70. Yep. So I think Stefanik has a slight edge based on their what I've seen of their common opponents and wrestling ability. I think Princeton, to win this, they need this match, and I think they might need bonus points themselves here.
Yeah, I could see them needing bonus points here the way I actually have the match. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking Stefanik with a 4-point win.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going 3-point win, but like you said, though, I think they may need the bonus points from them. So,
yeah. Just so you know, all my math that I did beforehand is wrong. And I have the NC State math on the edge of this. I must have cut out UNC. Not important, fans. Anyway, going up to 97, we got Pat Brucky versus Brandon Whitman. Brucky has had an interesting season. It's he lost to Brunner. He beat Werner. Then he lost to him. Then he avenged that loss, I believe. Is that right? Did he beat Werner?
He did. He did beat Jacob Werner at the Midlands 10-5.
10-5, right? And avenging that very close last-second loss at the duel. Brucky's one of my favorite guys. I love the power he wrestles with, that blast double. I don't know much about Whitman. But I think Brucky needs to get bonus points here, for Princeton, because this is the last match I have them, winning in this duel, and I think that he's going to have to get a major.
I actually have him with a major. So these two guys did meet last year at the NCAA's. Brucky won 8-2. I think being a dual meet and knowing that Princeton's probably going to need his points, I could see him getting a major in this match. I could see maybe if he's starting to take the guy down a lot, he would probably just start taking him down, release, take down, release, just to get to that major level. So I could see that happening. That Brucky lost to Bruner, and Bruner's having a heck of a season. He's 20-2, so losing 4-3 to him is no big deal in my mind. Bruner's having a great season. He was actually originally going to redshirt this year, and then they brought him back. They brought him out of redshirt. Even I believe he was a senior, but so they were going to redshirt him, but lost 1 point match to Bruner is he'll be fine.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to change. I'm taking a major. I'm taking a major.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm taking a tech fall.
Tech
I'm going.
fall. All right.
Yeah, I'm going for a 5-point win.
All
Because if he doesn't get that, I've got to tie and go into criteria. So
and we're not going to fake that out here, Mike.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that wormhole. So going up to 285, Andrew Gunning versus Aiden Connor. And Connor I will just say he's had what's the word I'm looking for? A pretty tough D1 start to the season. As a true freshman, he's bounced back and gotten a few wins, but he did not. He did not dominate at the F&M Open, which was not loaded.
Certainly not. Yep.
So I think Gunning has a clear edge here, and that Connor is going to have to keep this to a regular decision loss, to avoid going to criteria. Yeah,
and I know I said this the last time we did a preview of Princeton, and I wonder if maybe I keep saying the guy. Maybe we see Jack Del Garbarino.
Yeah,
he also went to the Franklin Marshall Open. He was 1-2. Nothing to sneeze at, nothing to write home about. But he did wrestle Gunning at the Midlands and lost 4-2. So maybe Princeton sees that and says, well, you know what, he kept that one close. Maybe you throw him in there and see if he can keep the match close, because otherwise I could see Gunning, maybe racking up some points against Connor possibly. So I wonder if either one of them. I had Gunning winning, but I think Gunning. I think that Del Garbarini could keep it maybe closer to a decision rather than a major.
And that shuffling the lineup is right up Coach Ayers and staff's. I think that one of their strong suits. They have pushed the right buttons so far this year, putting people in and out of the lineup and getting guys who are motivated and keeping that close could be the difference. I have it 18-17.
Yeah, so it's funny when I did this before we talked. That toss-up match at 133 I had given to North Carolina. Then when we just discussed it, I gave it to Princeton. So, that to me is the difference in the match, is really who wins the 133-pound match. And again, I'm assuming Agassi's there and healthy. But so if Agassi's there and healthy, I had the match 19-16 either way. So you could 19-16, whoever wins the 133 wins the match. How's that?
There you go. Let's just jump right into it. I think it's the next day. Princeton drives a few miles down the road, Tobacco Road, to face North Carolina State, Coach Papalizio and staff. And this should be another one that's really good. North Carolina State is coming in. I got them at number 5. Where do you have them at WrestleStat?
I just got rid of them there for a second. We got them 4.
Okay.
4, yep.
Mine's thinking alike. So this should be another good one, right? 2 top 20 teams, 2 top 10 teams going at it. Actually, I fudged my Princeton ranking from 11 to 10. So jumping right into it, 125. Glory's got another top 20 guy here. He's going to be facing most likely Jacob Camacho. For Princeton to have any chance in this match, Glory is going to have to open this thing up if they start at 125 with bonus points. Versus common opponents, Glory has a clear and distinct edge. I think a push would be a major decision, and a win for Princeton is more than that, and a regular decision is a win for NC State.
Certainly, yep. Yeah, I I have it written down as 4 for Glory, but yeah, I love Glory this year, and I could see him scoring, maybe even getting a pin or a tech fall in this match. But you know what? He's also North Carolina State's not wrestling the day before, I don't believe. So Princeton's going to have wrestled the day before. Have to make weight again the next day. You get a 1 pound allowance, but I don't know if that's going to help much. So hopefully Glory is ready to go the second day. I think at least a major from Glory.
Gotcha. All right. Going up to 33. Now, we've talked about Agassi's history with injuries, back-to-back matches. It makes you wonder if he's going to go both days. We don't know, and I'm sure the coaches don't know right now, and they're still thinking about it. But it would be Agassi or Pearson versus Jarrett Tremblay.
That's who I have, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any. I was even on WrestleStat yesterday looking, and I didn't see any common opponents.
Opponents.
You got
to remember, Agassi hasn't wrestled a lot, so that hurts. Yeah. With his, this is his 4th year in college, and he's got a total record of 15-11. And over the last 2 years, he was 0-2, and I probably were medical forfeits of both of those matches, if I'm not mistaken. There's not a lot of matches that Ty Agassi has to his record.
And I know he's had at least 2 or 3. I mean, Coach told me he's had multiple surgeries.
Sure.
Like this kid is working his butt off to stay in the lineup, and I know they want to try and keep him in the lineup, back-to-back matches, and you talked just a few seconds ago about 33 being the pivotal match. Do they put him in thinking they have a chance against NC State or University of North Carolina, and just put Pearson here thinking that this might not be a close match?
Yeah, I can see that happening because I agree. I think he goes one match this week, that next weekend. So I could see, the way I have it written down, I think you have a better shot of beating North Carolina than you do NC State. So
yeah. So if it's Pearson, it's hard to pick him at 33 just because of the size differential.
Sure.
So I'm giving it to NC State, Tremblay. Pearson proved me wrong. I will tell you this, that I'm not sure if we talked about this, but the Princeton coaches used the preview of the Ryder match as bulletin board material. Everything I said, they were pretty sore at me post-match. And so go ahead and use it if you want.
Well, better you than me.
Yeah. Anyway, going up to 41.
So real quick, Mike, they do have a common opponent of Pearson and Tremblay, and that is Nick Farrow, with Pearson losing 11-5 and Tremblay losing 8-5 in tiebreaker 2. So you probably give a slight edge to NC State there.
Yeah, and Farrow's a good kid from Lehigh. Just loses close, doesn't win as many as he should.
Sure.
But he beat them apparently. All right, going up to 41. Number 7 or 8, Tariq Wilson versus Marshall Keller. I've got Keller around 30, but I'm partial to him because of his motor. I think you guys have him higher ranked.
We have him a lot higher. Yeah. Closer to 60. So
Wilson is having a pretty dominating year. He's lost a kid. He's had a weird thing at the Scuffle, right?
Yeah, exactly. He lost 2 matches at the Scuffle, which were a little surprising. But
coming into there, I thought he was having a pretty good year. Actually, now I look over there, he lost to Red.
He lost 2 matches to Cliff Keen, too. Yeah, he lost to Blockets, a freshman at Northern Iowa. So.
Oh, my word. What am I talking about?
Well, before that, he was undefeated. So.
Yeah. So I wonder if he was banged up. You just don't know. Coach Popolizio and I are not texting each other.
No.
But just looking at the rankings, Wilson has got clear advantage here. Keller's biggest advantage to me is he's built some confidence. He's got a strong motor, and building that confidence, whether it's at the F&M Open or he had a nice win against Chris Wright, where he just dominated the Ryder match. Tech fall somebody like that. Midlands, what did he do? 2-2 or something?
2-2, yeah, 2-2. So one of those wins was a medical forfeit win, so maybe really call them 1-2.
So it's got to be a clear edge to Wilson. I would just say that if Princeton wants to keep it close, they got to keep it to a regular decision. And otherwise, I would, if Wilson is not moving towards bonus points, it speaks to maybe he's not right.
Yeah, I would agree. And I have it as 3, but I could easily be persuaded to make it 4, but I'll keep it at 3 at this point.
Going up to 49, Mike D'Angelo versus AJ Littleton.
Yeah, I don't even know how you say it. So
Leaton,
maybe. Yeah.
And we've talked about D'Angelo earlier being kind of up and down. I think this match is one of those matches where he can kind of open up the motor on Leaton, because he does not. I mean, he's lost. He's been up and down too. He's got losses to someone who's like the 104th guy in the country. I believe that's a medical forfeit. But it's one of those matches where you can see Princeton's going to need to get some points from D'Angelo and open it up if they're going to stay in this match at all.
Yeah, and with AJ, I couldn't call him AJ because I don't want to pronounce his last name. He went to the Southern Scuffle, ended up injured in one match, and then medical forfeiting out. So hopefully he's back and able to go. But that being said, I think it's a clear advantage for D'Angelo here. I have a 3-point decision, but I think, like you said, that they know he needs points here. So maybe he comes out and is able to go ahead and get that major decision at least. So
yeah, because from here out, everybody else that NC State puts out there is just they're. I think everyone except maybe heavyweight is higher ranked guy, and when you're going in. And your next stud has the number 1 guy in the country, or whatever Hidley is.
Sure.
So Quincy Monday going up to 57 here has got Hidley, and we've talked about Monday, and he's my dark horse.
That's your pick, yeah.
Yeah, but Hidley is he is a stud. He has 1 loss, I think, on the season.
1 loss, right? Yep. He lost to Deacon at Cliff King. Yep.
Interesting. And I see this being a tight match. I think Hidley is, I think, a better version of Alex Pantaleo, compact, strong, really quick, point to point. Monday is got a reach that I think until you experience it, you're not used to how far in front of he can be and still get to your ankle,
right?
With strength. Quincy Monday, his beating Della Vecchia with going point to point and really being in control. I think that's a really good, I don't want to say it's a practice match, but a way to, even though Della Vecchia is totally different than Hidley, I think it's a great practice strategy for him to be competitive with Hidley. And this could be, to me, it's a preview possibly of the NCAA finals.
Yeah, it could definitely be, or certainly you're looking at a semifinal match or a quarterfinal match. Definitely, these guys will both be there at the end. That's for sure. I'm not putting Quincy in the finals category as you are yet, but he's definitely a guy that's good. I could see being in the semifinals, and you know what? Once you're there, you could easily push yourself through to the finals. But I'm going to give Hidley a decision here. Until I see it. I think kind of like I said when we previewed Princeton Del Vecchia, that I gave it to Del Vecchia because I hadn't seen Quincy beat him. Yeah. Now I have, and I don't think I would ever pick that again. Yeah. So I will go with Hidley here, though.
Yep. I'm going to take an upset special. He's wrestling. His dad's there. Monday, in North Carolina. Sure. I'm sure his whole family will be there. Make the travel down the road to watch the match.
Absolutely.
His brother's going to be there. His mother's going to be there, and I think it's going to be. I'm just taking Quincy Monday. So, Coach Papalizzo, you can use that as bulletin board material, and you can too, Hayden. I hate picking against PA guys, but it's one of those things. And he's friends with someone I've coached for years. I'm not necessarily picking that way in the finals, but right now I'm taking Quincy and the gold medal blood.
Yeah.
All right, going up to 65. Grant Cuomo, we assume is going to go again unless they do any juggling, and they had, but it seems like Cuomo has taken that spot
Hmm.
versus a guy who's like between 10 and 15, Thomas Bullard.
Yep,
Um,
Tommy. Yep.
I think that Bullard is clearly a better wrestler. I've seen him wrestle a couple times. Clearly, meaning he is just a better D1 wrestler. He doesn't get out of position. He finishes his attacks, and you win a lot of matches by never breaking position. And the matches I've seen, he's beaten someone I've coached who is a pretty good wrestler, Vera Wett.
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that's Vera Wett was one of those guys who was up and down a little bit, but if you were going to beat him, you couldn't break position, and Bullard has that. So I'm taking Bullard, and it's one of those things where I could see it being more than a regular decision if he is pouring it on.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, he beat Viruet twice in his career, and then I guess Cuomo actually wrestled him and lost to Viruet. So that if you're going on that alone, you'd have to give the advantage to Bullard. Yeah, I would also pick Bullard here. I'm going to keep it to a decision, but then again, if he's wrestling 2 days in a row and Bullard's fresh, you could see it possibly getting away. But I'm going to go with 3 points for NC State here.
Shout out to my man Johnny Viruet, the only guy who I know who always practiced in black every day. Every day, all black. Anyway, all right, so we're going to NC State there. Both of us going up to 74. We got Kevin Parker versus Dan Bullard.
Yeah, the twin brother of Thomas Bullard.
There you go. You always wonder, and I've never talked to these guys, how many holes were in those walls growing up? Did these guys go at it? Uh-oh. Are you there, Dan?
I am now,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you cut out there a little bit. Yep.
Gotcha. You wonder how many walls these guys ruined as kids. I know I've talked to the Fine Silvers and a few other brothers, and they're like, the Neville's brothers, they destroyed more furniture. So I wonder if the Bullards did that. Maybe I'll get a chance to talk to them about it.
There you go.
Well, we talked a little bit about Parker already.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of those things where, I think Bullard comes in, just has a better resume, has won some tough matches close. The interesting thing to me is he lost to Dean Sherry.
Yeah.
And, Sherry is one of those guys who's maybe a little bit on, a little bit off.
He definitely is. We've definitely seen that.
Yeah. And, what was the Parker match with Sherry?
Parker Sherry, yeah, it was the Parker Sherry was 9-8.
9-8, Parker winning.
Yep.
So, as soon as you start thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, Bullard, should win this easily. Is it a style matchup? And with that one I know the other common opponents, I think, skewed towards Bullard, but, this, might be one where Princeton might steal something here.
Yeah, actually, I do have Parker coming ahead in this match. So I gave Princeton 3 for this match, which they're probably going to need because if we have it right you have 65 going, or you have 57 going to Princeton. I have at this point NC State getting 57, 65, 84. So you have to. I'm looking for Parker to come and break that up here.
Gotcha.
Let's say that. So I actually have Parker winning by decision here.
Gotcha. They'll need it, and I'm leaning towards Bullard, but I could see that's it. They need that match if they're going to be competitive. So not competitive, but a chance to win the match.
That's funny, Mike. I didn't even catch it before, but you're right that Sherry that Bullard just lost to Sherry, but they wrestled in the NCAAs in 2018. And Bullard beat him 18-0. Wow.
It's all mental. Wrestling, who knows? At the NCAAs, you never know if you're wrestling on one leg, right? You're just out there wrestling.
Correct.
But that's what a huge point differential there. And, part of that is Sherry's made some improvement, but then you wonder, if a guy takes a match off, you just never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Going up to the 184, we got the second half of the brothers for North Carolina, Trent Hidley. So they got the
Yeah.
Bullard and the Hidley brothers versus Travis Stefanik. So you got two Pennsylvania high school guys going at
There you
it.
go. Yeah.
Down in North Carolina. I don't know if they wrestled each other.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I don't know where they're from at all. Are they anywhere near each other?
They're in a different region, and Trent has gone so much up in weight that I don't think that they would have wrestled each other. But I don't know. I don't. I didn't follow that level of high school wrestling. I'm usually following college stuff. So they come in. Trent is what I have him in like number 7. I don't know what does WrestleStat have him at.
Well, let me just say this: we haven't run our rankings since the Southern Scuffle. So he lost to Dupre there, and we had him at 6 before. But I think most of the publications had him higher because until he lost to Dupre, he hadn't lost except to Valencia. So I think most publications might have had him. They might have actually had him 2nd because he had beaten Deprez earlier in the year. So
right, he did. There was I think it was a sudden victory or overtime match. Is that right?
Yeah, it was sudden. It was TB1. So a tiebreaker 1. So and that was a weird day for Hidley because he wrestled at Cornell. Then they drove to Binghamton and wrestled. So he wrestled 2 matches in one day where you had to drive to the second location. So. Like I said, our rank, I think most publications had him at ranked 2nd, but then he just dropped the match in the Southern Scuffle to Deprez. So, there's a kid that was at the tournament. His name is David. And when I say the tournament, the Southern Scuffle, his name is David Key. He's going to go to Navy next year. So right now he's wrestling for the Naval Academy Prep School.
Yep.
He lost 3-2 to Hidley, and he had himself a good tournament, this kid. So it's someone you're going to watch out for next year.
Totally. Yeah. They got a bunch of young talent coming into that program. I know that there's been a little pressure since Army has been consistently knocking them off now a couple years in a row. I know they got a couple kids from Malvern over there. Anyway, they're going to Navy hopefully will be rebuilding, making that a little more competitive. I have Hidley winning this thing and getting back to the 84. I think that for NC State to make a statement, like he wants to bonus point Stefanik. And Stefanik will put himself in some crazy positions, right? We saw him get winning against Walton. Ryder got pinned.
Sure, got pinned.
He's one of those kids, boys, young men that has made a leap and then kind of goes back down. I think it's a mental thing for him. I think if he loses a regular decision here, it's a win for him.
Well, I actually have it as a regular decision loss, so it's a win for him. Then I think he, I'm hoping he could keep it close. Common opponents are not good in Stefanik's favor, so actually. 0-7 compared to 4-3, so that's not trending in the right direction for Stefanik. But I think he keeps it to a 3-point decision.
Gotcha. Jumping up to 97, here's another marquee matchup. We got Pat Brucky versus Nick Reenan, and these guys have not wrestled each other. Am I correct?
I don't believe so. No, it's and honestly, not a lot of common opponents either. But I'm pretty sure Nick was lower weight most of his career, and then missed all of last year. So, and with Brucky only being in his 2nd year, that probably makes some sense there.
So I don't know. I have these guys both at like number 5, tied at number 5 for me. What do you have? 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think we have. Let's see, we got 5, 6. Yeah, we have 5 and 6. Yeah,
should be a really good match. We did see Reenan just lose to.
Was Michael Beard. Michael Beard of Penn State. Yep.
And that's an odd loss. I think Brucky might be a little too powerful for him in neutral, and we will see. We'll see if Reenan has had a lot of injuries. So I know that he had a couple medical forfeits. I'm not sure 100% sure we're going to even see him at this point.
Yeah. So, like you said, in the scuffle, he lost to Michael Beard, a 1-0 match, but then he went and medical forfeited out of his next two matches. So, and one of them to Jordan Pagano of Rutgers. So it will be, and other than the Southern Scuffle, his only other match was he wrestled a dual meet against Appalachian State. And, he wrestled Paul Carson, who wrestles that has his 94th, who's 9-9 on the year, and he won that match 4-3. So, I think I'm giving the match to Brucky, and I think he should. If they wrestle, I think Brucky's just going to be too big for him.
I agree. The one thing I just looked up and I thought I remembered it from watching it was an odd situation. He took a medical forfeit, then he won a major decision, and then he medical forfeited again.
Yeah, well, you're right. I forgot about that. That is a crazy turn of events.
And the guy he medical forfeited last to was, he's in the feeder club for Cornell, Cardenas. He's a stud. I saw him at the Princeton Open. That kid is no joke. And you pay attention. He'll be ranked next year, I'm sure.
He absolutely will. And interesting, going back to our rider guy, Ethan Laird beat him in the Southern Scuffle. So.
No kidding. That's another nice win for Laird because
yep.
I think Cardenas beat him at the Open. Or am I wrong about that? I don't know. Go ahead.
Which Open?
Princeton Open.
Oh, it's certainly possible. It's funny because he's not on a D1 roster.
So it doesn't show up,
It's hard for you to see it,
yep.
But I have a way around that.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to tell anyone. I'll tell you off camera. But
So I'm going to take Brucky while you're looking that up. I think it's going to be – I think Brucky is going to win something like 10-5 on 5 takedowns and 5 escapes.
Yeah, I could see something like that, sure. That's funny. I said I had a way around it, and it's not letting me do it. So I'm just going to say at this point, I'm going to have to find that after. So that's frustrating.
Got it. All right. Hey, going up to 285, final mount. I can't even talk. I'm so tired. Been a long couple weeks.
We got to get you off so you can watch your Eagles coming up.
I'm not an Eagles fan, my fan. I'm not an Eagles fan. But don't tell anybody. They'll get shot around here. 285. So we got Aiden Connor, most likely. And, we talked a little bit about what some of the gamesmanship may be the night before based on matchups versus Deontay Wilson.
That's what I'm showing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, this is one of those matches that, could be a toss-up. And depending on the way, they juggle the lineup the night before at UNC. Maybe they put Connor in here. Maybe he would do a little better. I could see what common opponents. What do you think here? It looks like it's.
I jumped over to Del Garbino for common opponents for Wilson, and they both wrestled Andrew Gunning, who will be wrestling the night before.
Yep.
And so Wilson actually pinned him, and the Del Garbino has lost, like as we mentioned, 4-2 to Gunning. So but a pin at heavyweight, that could mean a lot of things. He could have caught the guy, so that's hard to say if anything to that. And then I don't think what you were getting at for common opponents. For Connor, he is 2-4, and Wilson is 4-1.
Yeah.
Maybe a recent match you had.
Cloud. So
Cloud. Yep, sure.
Connor lost to him earlier, then beat him when we saw him at the Ryder match, and it wasn't as close. I think it was 2 takedowns and maybe back points. And Wilson, beat him by 1 point.
He beat him 1 point. Yep. So it's definitely a toss-up match, and Princeton probably, if Princeton gets this match, it could the dual meet could certainly come down to this match.
Yeah, I'm just making it up. I got 1918 NC State NC State.
Yeah, so I had it 18-15 as my best case scenario, but NC State's still winning. But that's my best case scenario for Princeton as 18-15.
That's Glory getting a pin for me.
Yeah.
They're not easy to come by, even though it's D1. So,
no, certainly not.
But that's with the Monday upset as well. So anyway,
Yeah.
it should be a great weekend for Princeton wrestling fans. I am not sure if either of these matches are on Flow or on Track.
So if it's at NC State and North Carolina, it might be the ESPN that could possibly. It might be on
Plus.
ESPN.
And as I have heard on my site, so ESPN Plus essentially has a iPad that the table workers just have on. I had probably 7 people message me during the Princeton match telling them to get the audio back on for ESPN Plus because it was just a mess. We'll say wrestling is an afterthought when they're covering the Ivy League sports program. So,
yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
So there we are. I guess that's pretty much it, Dan. We'll maybe we'll convene in 10 days or so and do a little wrap up and do another preview.
Sounds great, Mike. I appreciate it.
We did Rutgers, didn't we? Or we not?
We did not go match by Rutgers. I'm not going anywhere. I just don't know how long you want this podcast to be.
Hey, how about we just go right into Rutgers, and I'll put a little note in there saying, hey, if you want just Rutgers, start at an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to jump right into 125 while I get my notes out?
Yeah, so Rutgers will have 2 matches this weekend. Mike, we only talked about one, but they actually have on Friday night, I guess that's the 10th, they have a match against Ohio State at Ohio State.
Yep.
And then on that Sunday, they'll have Michigan State. So,
there we go. Yep.
Yep. So both matches away. So, I'm sure it's not that much of a difference. I don't know. I don't know the geographic there as far as going from Ohio State to Michigan State. But
close. I'm sure it's a bus ride.
What's that?
It's a bus ride. It's close.
Okay. Gotcha. So if we're obviously 125 for Rutgers, a guy that's actually currently highly ranked is Nick Aguilar. He actually comes in at Flow, I believe, at number 9. I think we're gonna. Nick has gotten some very nice wins this year. He lost. Let's just say before the Southern Scuffle, he was doing real well. His ranking is before the Southern Scuffle, let's say that. So he dropped a few matches in the Southern Scuffle where he was, I believe Nick was seeded 2nd, but he took 8th. So, that's probably going to bring his ranking down when they come out next week. And and again, I am a Rutgers fan. I'm a season ticket holder. I watch all their matches. I think we're going to get to know a lot about Nick Aguilar as we go forward over the next few weeks as he gets into the tougher schedule now. I personally don't think he's a top 9 guy. And I might get someone might send me an email from Rutgers saying that, but I don't think he's a top 10 guy. And I think we're going to see – I hope he is. But I think we'll see him come back down to earth now. And as we get into the deeper part of his schedule. That being said, Ohio State, now he's going to have Heinzelman, who is a guy that people, if Nick Aguilar is a top 10 guy, he's got to beat a Malik Heinzelman. And even though Malik Heinzelman was a qualifier last year, he's not a top 10 guy. So we shall see if Nick is or not.
So, a couple things. One, can we just do 125 right across the board? So we'll do.
Oh, sure.
Does that work? So Heinzelman, Ohio State. The biggest thing I think with Heinzelman, I don't think he's grown into the weight class, right? I think Aguilar.
He hasn't, but also you got to remember too is Aguilar's small too. He's definitely a small guy.
I was getting to the point is that I'm not sure it's going to be an advantage necessarily for Aguilar,
Gotcha.
right? Like some of the I watched a couple of the Ohio State matches, and you can just see a size difference here. I don't know if we'll see a size difference, but
correct.
But I agree with you. This is a measuring stick for Aguilar, and if you would have asked me 2 months ago, is it worth doing a Rutgers Ohio State preview? I didn't think Rutgers' team was going to be as good as they are right now. I'm impressed with the job that they've done coaching guys up. And this is going to be a measuring stick for Aguilar and the Rutgers staff right here. So I'm taking Aguilar over Heinzelman.
Okay. I actually have I have Aguilera as well, but I just I think he's going to have to win these matches.
Yep. And then I'm looking right at WrestleStat right now. Logan Griffin for Michigan State.
Hmm.
I mean, this could be a good weekend for him, or it could be a mixed weekend for him.
Yeah, a guy like Logan Griffith, he's actually a fifth-year senior, but he's gotten some starts early in his career. He was not the starter last year. He went to Big Tens in 2018 and 17, and I think 2018 they must have had an injury because he jumped up to 133 and only started wrestling in February and went to the Big Ten. So they must have had someone go down. But again, he's a tough guy. He's a tough wrestler, and Aguilar's got to win this match.
I agree with you. I think everybody who says coaches don't matter, the change just in mentality at Michigan State has made them instantly a top 30 team within 2 years. So it's one of those things I just want to give a shout out to the staff there that they have done a great job. And as well, I mean, look, I've already said I think Rutgers staff has done a really good job, but Michigan
Sure.
State the last 2 years, it's just a change in coaching, it's a change in leadership, and this will be a battle, and we'll see. Like you're going to learn a lot about the teams this weekend at this duel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Michigan State has done a great job, but they were at the Navy Classic when Rutgers was there, and I just remember seeing a lot of Rutgers guys losing to Michigan State guys, and not necessarily starters, but just in general, the whole, anyone that was down there seemed like every time I turned around, a Michigan State guy was beating a Rutgers guy.
Gotcha, wrestling hard.
Yep.
All right, 133.
We got 133 Rutgers coming off there. Sammy Alvarez coming off a great performance, winning the Southern Scuffle, knocking off two ranked guys in the process. Mickey Philippi of Pitt, certainly one of them, and then Cam Sikora from North Dakota State. So great match for him, and now he's just got to keep the ball rolling. He is a guy that I could see as a top 10 guy, and he I believe was probably right outside of that, but that was before the Southern Scuffle. So I expect him to be certainly top 10 now.
The Philippi win impresses me because that kid was having a great season,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he wrestled tough against some tough kids at the Navy Classic, and then I think it was the Lehigh match I saw. So that's a big win, and I got to go with Alvarez. Decatur, they're pulling Decatur's coming off of winning Franklin and Marshall Open.
Yes, we should mention that. Yes.
Again, I don't think he beat anybody who was world beating there. He beat. I'm looking up. I don't even see it. I don't recognize anybody's name.
No, there was he actually ended up. It was weird. He's in the winner's bracket, and two guys medical forfeited to him in the winner's bracket. So that was odd.
Yeah. Again, so this is one that we don't. Who knows what Ohio State's going to get with Decatur and what his learning curve is going to be. But right now, projecting this thing, you got to think Sammy Alvarez is going to win this match, and for Ohio State to be in the match, they need bonus points here.
For Rutgers to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say that backwards? For Rutgers? Yes.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know if you're going to get bonus from. I don't know. I don't really, like you said, we don't know what we got with Decatur. I know he had trouble making weight earlier in the year.
Yeah.
That's why they had to wait for this, or maybe they were trying to suck him down to 125. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But he's going to have a test because tomorrow, actually on a Monday night, Ohio State has a match against. Virginia Tech, I believe. So he'll have a test there, I guess.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
We'll get some more information.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm taking Rutgers for the first two matches here.
As well.
41.
You want to go to Michigan State?
I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah, so we go to Michigan State, actually. Here's a guy, Garrett, I believe it's Pepple, who... on paper you would think Rutgers would be the big advantage here, but actually they wrestled at the Navy Classic, and Pepple beat Alvarez 6-2. Now I think Alvarez has improved greatly in this past month, and maybe has a little more confidence now. And I'm looking for him to come out and win this match.
Sounds good. I have not seen Pepple. I'm taking Alvarez to avenge that. We will see. It's one of those things where Michigan State, while they're whatever, they're actually a top 30 or 40 team this year. They don't. This is like one of their better guys. So I'm going to go with Alvarez. See how it goes.
Well, I mean, after that Southern scuffle, I have to ride him. You have to ride him.
Have to ride him. The Philippi win. Philippi just looked like a beast. I don't know if he was hurt or sick. All right, 41. JoJo Aragona versus Luke Pletcher. Pletcher coming in top 5 ranking.
Yep, it's actually probably number 1 in most publications, right? Because I don't think he hasn't lost yet.
Hasn't lost.
No, 14-0.
He majored Chad Red right at the Cliff Keen.
Yeah, hasn't wrestled in a month. A lot of Ohio State guys haven't wrestled in a long time.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with health or training cycles.
No, they haven't had nothing on their schedule. Yeah. So they sent a couple guys to the Franklin Marshall Open just to get some mat time, but no, a lot of these guys like Pletcher and some of the others haven't been on the mat, and you got JoJo Aragona, good freshman for Rutgers. I'd like to see him wrestle hard, but I don't expect him to beat Luke Pletcher. And I could see Luke Pletcher. One little knock on Pletcher was in the past was he didn't get bonus points, but he's certainly he's changed that this year, and he's starting to get more bonus points. And I could see him getting bonus in this. So this year he's at 57% bonus rate, where as a sophomore he was at 11%. Last year he was 32%. So he's definitely upped his game.
Absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. And the craziest thing is that everybody thought Pletcher was going to 33. I can see him maybe being more dominant at 33, but I'm clearly wrong. Not cutting weight is working for him, and his bonus rate this year is, the knock has always been that he's boring, that Latrobe dude, and he is not. He's when he bonusing Chad Red, that's a big deal.
That's huge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, and just I know we want to move along, but JoJo did wrestle Chad Red, lost 4-1. It was actually a good match. So JoJo's keeping himself in some of the better matches. Just lost. Actually, who did JoJo just lose to? Shoup from Kyle Shoup from what do you call it? Lockhaven. He lost a 6-5 match. So I mean, he was in that match, and it was he's very close to a takedown at the end.
And Shoup is, he's a top 20 guy for sure, right?
Yeah, All-American, 7th last year.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, that's right. They're all second All-American.
Yeah.
Last year. Or third. Was it? They had 3 last year or 2? I don't even know.
I don't know.
All right. Then going to Michigan State. We have Aragona versus Matt Santos.
Yeah, so I look for Aragona to come back, 2 days later and hopefully get himself a win here. Common opponent, Kyle Shoup. And like we said, Aragona lost by 1. And then Shoup was able to win by major decision 11-0 against Santos. So hopefully, Rutgers could, especially for Aragona, if he takes a tough loss against Pletcher, hopefully he could jump back in and get a win here.
There we go. All right. Going up to, I'm taking Aragona there as well, just based on the common opponent.
Sure.
Going up to 149, Ohio State's going to put out Sammy Sasso, and thinking Gerald Angelo for Rutgers.
Yeah, we're thinking Gerald Angelo. Now they also, Nick Santos was supposed to be the starter this year. He actually won the wrestle off. He got hurt his first match of the season, and we hadn't seen him until the Franklin Marshall Open yesterday. Santos, I believe, won 4 matches, and then he medically forfeited in the final. So he didn't lose, but he didn't wrestle the finals. And I don't think he was hurt. I think he got his work in for the day and just headed home with that. So you could see maybe you see these guys split the matches this weekend, because I'm sure if Santos is if he's not hurt, he's going to be in the mix here. So
gotcha. Okay.
And Angelo is another guy. He actually is ranked right now in flows as number 25, but I think he's a guy that's going to have to prove himself a little more. Had a very disappointing scuffle, if I must say so myself. But he I believe he went 2-2, and with some of the losses, he lost to the Ryder kid, Gino Fleury. He lost in what do you call it, Southern Victory there, and then he lost to Jason Kraiser from Campbell Kreiser. So. He certainly hasn't solidified the spot. I think that spot's open for either Santos or Gerald Angelo.
Gotcha. Well, it's either one is not going to have a tough match. Not going to have an easy match with Sammy Sasso. Sasso's having a pretty good season. He's a redshirt freshman. He dropped that match to Brayton Lee out at the Cliff Keen. Mm-hmm. And I think he got pinned earlier in the season. Is that right?
He did. He did get pinned. But was Brent Moore? Was Brent
I'm
Moore
not sure. I saw a GIF of it, and it looked like it was a scrambling position. So
yeah, absolutely, that's the way he wrestles like that. Unfortunately, but it was Brent Moore from Virginia Tech, right? Yep.
So I'm taking Sasso, and I guess a win here for Rutgers to me is a regular decision.
Yeah, I actually have it as a 5-pointer. I have a tech fall for Sasso, and he can certainly catch a guy. So
exactly. Going on to Michigan State. Here's a Greek name I'm going to mess up.
I'm glad you're going to try it.
Harrisopoulos.
I couldn't tell you if you're right or wrong, but let's go with Alex.
Yeah, Alex. He comes in. You guys have him at like 50 something.
Yeah, in the 50s, but he's a decent guy, and with Rutgers, with Angelo, we have them both at 1-1 with common opponents, and if it's Santos, we got Santos beating Hunter Richard and Alex losing to Hunter Richard. So so I think maybe you see Santos here and. Hoping for that win, but I'm giving Rutgers the win here, either guy, but just the decision. So probably maybe that's a little me being a homer there, but
Santos, if he is healthy, if he's wrestling, is much closer match than with the common opponents. So I could see that, and it's one of those things where coaching and pushing the right buttons, right. The right guys at the right time for the right matchup makes a difference.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass coaches, but there's been horrendous choices in the past, and you wonder what was inspiring them. So, going up to 57, Mike Van Brill, I'm expecting for Rutgers versus Elijah Cleary for Ohio State.
Yep, I expect both, and common opponents are close. We've got 2-1 for Van Brill, 3-0 for Cleary. And WrestleStat predicts the match as a 5-4 match, giving it to Cleary. So, hopefully it's a close match. Maybe Van Brill gets a chance to win it at the end. But I myself am also given 3 points, and I have it written down next to it that this is certainly a match that Van Brill could win. And, I'll give it to Cleary until I see otherwise, but I think to match Rutgers needs to win, just even to keep the match close. I
agree with you. I'm giving it to Cleary until Van Brill shows me he's going to do it. One, they're on the road. Ohio State's at home, and I thought there'd be more from Van Brill at this point. I'm a fan, but I'm going Cleary. And you'd be curious to see if it's Ohio State having such a long layoff. We'll see what kind of intensity they come out with.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think that could be a big that could be something that Rutgers could capitalize on.
Yeah.
Now Cleary did wrestle in the Cleveland State Open, so he got some more matches. But even that was the 14th of December, so still a long layoff.
And then going over to Michigan State, Van Brill versus Jake Tucker.
Yep, Jake Tucker. We have him pretty close with common opponents. Van Brill's 3-3, Tucker's 3-5. We predict actually Van Brill to win a 1-point match. I actually wrote it down as a toss up, but I actually gave it to Michigan State on this one.
Yeah,
but
I don't know where Tucker comes in ranked at on your guys at 16.
Yeah, he comes in at 16, which that's probably a little high, to be honest with you, or a little low, I should say, meaning that he's probably you know what? He's 17-3 on the year. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I mean, common opponents. I mean, he's got a fair amount of losses, but I mean, just based on some of the higher wins, he's got wins over guys who are 30, and I got to go with Tucker.
Yeah, he won the Navy Classic, which I mean that's a great win there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's one of those. Yeah, that's a nice win.
Yeah.
Going up to 65. Jackson Turley
or Brett Donner. Brett Donner's gotten more of the starts lately. I don't know if it was a weight issue for Turley, but they both did go to the Southern Scuffle. Donner went further than Turley, but so it could be either one. I mean, Turley was a true freshman. He was a very nicely ranked kid. I think, like a lot of these kids now, some of them want to go right away, and maybe told the coaches I want to go right away, and if I don't, I'm out of here. I don't know that, but it seems odd that I think this kid could have used a year of red shirt.
Right. And they make a difference. They do make a difference. And, going against Ethan Smith, who I think had a hard start to the season.
Yeah, sure.
But he has kind of built up. He had at least had a couple ranked wins.
Oh, beat McFadden. McFadden for Virginia Tech, 5-4 at home. So that's a huge win.
That's a huge win. He beat Bullard. He also lost to Bullard, huh?
Sure. And the Cliff Keen, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you got to go with. I'm going with Smith.
Yeah, I have Smith here. Yep, absolutely.
I
oh no, you know what? That's the next match. Sorry about that, but I have I have it as a 3-pointer, but Donner, if it's Donner, he's a tough kid, and he'll hang in there, but I think you would also have to give it to Smith.
Gotcha. All right. Going up to.
We'll go over to Michigan State there. State. So 65. Yeah, if it's used, I think he medically forfeited out of a tournament recently.
Oh, yeah.
But that nowadays that doesn't mean a lot. You see that a lot. But use, it's funny because WrestleStat has Turley picking Turley, and like I said, I think Turley had some early season bonuses which are helping him. Hughes got pinned recently by the South Dakota State guy who's very good. He's 10-1. But Hughes is a guy that doesn't usually get pinned. If you look at his numbers on WrestleStat, go back to the freshman, there are so many 2-0 matches because he gets an escape and he is a hammer on top to where he gets on top, he's usually getting the riding time. A lot of 1-point, 2-point matches from Hughes. So he got pinned in the duel. I guess they went to the South Beach duels. And then he didn't wrestle after that. So I think they had 2 more duels that he did not wrestle in. I think he's, I don't know if he's healthy or not, to be honest with you, but we'll see. That being said, Turley's already lost to his backup at the Navy Classic. So it's certainly a match I give to Michigan State.
Yep.
I'm giving it a 3, just a decision, just because of the way that Hughes wrestles. So I think, he keeps matches close, and so I'll go with a decision there.
So, what do you have that Michigan State match at right now? I lost count.
So myself, I had the first 4 matches going to Rutgers and the last 2 going to Michigan State. So I got a 12-6.
All right. Bumping up then to 74, back at Ohio State, Grello versus Romero.
Yep, Grello versus Romero.
Should be a good match.
If you look at the flow rankings, you got Romero, I believe, 8th, Grello 9th. So we are talking about 2 evenly matched guys. Both guys actually were in the round of 16 last year at the same weight at the Nationals. So, on paper, you would look that it's going to be a good match. Grello certainly was dealing with some issues. So he hurt his ribs earlier in the year. He's 5-2 now at the Southern Scuffle. He went 2-2. I believe he was ranked. He came not ranked. He was seeded high, and I think he might have been seeded second. And lost a match to Chris Foca, another one of those Cornell kids who's taking that gray shirt for Finger Lakes. And then lost to a guy for Lehigh, a true freshman, Jake Logan, which you probably know.
Yep.
So he lost 3-2 to him. So I think Joe's struggling a little bit. And with that being said, I gave the match to Romero.
I'm just gonna say I think it'll be a tale of two matches, and that if Grello if he is taking more attacks and gets the score up, and I'm not talking about wild attacks, just shooting to shoot, but if he opens up his motor a little bit, I think that he could come out with a win here. And if it's a lower scoring match, I think that Romero has an edge there. I think that he's better positionally and maybe from position to position, shot to finish, and dominating that position. And he doesn't open up his motor that often. And I don't know if he's got a gas tank if Grello can push it and be wide open.
Yeah, he's shown not to have one in the past, Romero. So,
yeah, exactly.
And again, hasn't wrestled since 12-6, and in that tournament he went 1-2. But his losses were to some pretty good guys, Labriola and Skatska. So,
Gotcha. All right, I'm taking that as a toss-up. And if the over under is over 8, I'm taking Grello.
Gotcha.
And then going over to Michigan State.
Michigan State at 74.
He'll have Lane. Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
I was going to say the Michigan State guy, Lane Malkowitz.
I was going to let you pronounce it again. Let's go with Lane for now. And
okay.
So he's good. He pinned Willie Scott, who's Rutgers' backup right now. He pinned him at the Navy Classics. Again, me saying that I saw a lot of Michigan State guys beating Rutgers guys. So I'm giving Grello a bounce back win because I have him losing to Ohio State. I think he comes back 2 days later and has a good match against Lane, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. The interesting thing when you're in the Big Ten is that I don't know if it's interesting, but this time of year everybody's pretty tough, and if you're not mentally right, if you don't have your systems dialed for the road and everything, anything can get in your way. So I think on paper, I think Malkowitz has maybe a less consistent or equally inconsistent result. And it's one of those things where I'm taking Grello, but I don't know what's going to happen. Right?
Sure.
You don't know what's going to happen. Second day of a weekend travel and where everybody's at with injuries. I think the match is his to win.
Certainly.
But time will tell us.
Yeah, but I agree. It's Grello's match to win. He's got to go out there and take it. Yep.
84 back at Ohio State. We got Rocky Jordan, coach's son, and Billy Janzer, I'm guessing, for Rutgers.
Yeah, definitely guessing Janzer now. The only thing about Janzer was he missed the Southern Scuffle. I'm hearing it was a bug going around, and he was just one of those guys to catch it. So hopefully he should be back, and hopefully it wasn't an injury. And that being said, I hope to see him back. Now, for Ohio State, I guess I would say it's going to be Rocky Jordan as well. Obviously, there's a chance that it could be Garrett Hoffman because he's been wrestling. Jordan just went to the Franklin Marshall Open. I feel that they went there, sent him at 84 so he could get some matches. Obviously, he went there. He ran through the tournament. So I would be surprised if we didn't see Rocky Jordan going forward.
Yeah, I think I'm not supposing I'm in their brain, but I think they thought they were going to get a little more out of Gavin Hoffman.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure if that's a weight issue or something else. And I'll leave it at that. And
sure.
Whereas this should be another. I think these guys are fairly evenly matched if they're healthy. I mean, again, depending on the health. Um, so, yeah, Janzer.
I like Janzer. I like it's hard because these two guys, they're gonna battle. They're gonna go at it.
And I don't. So you're closer to the situation, right? 2 medical forfeits out of the scuffle. So I just don't know.
Well, he wasn't even there. So what happened was because the scuffle seeds it the day before, they kept him in the bracket, but he wasn't there. So
he didn't start the match. Did you say that earlier and I didn't catch on?
No, I probably didn't. I didn't make that clear. But
okay.
He did not start those matches. Neither of those matches. Yeah.
Well, to me, this is like one of those ones where you see which team is just mentally stronger at that weight. Because I see it as a toss-up, and it's based on their training cycles and where they're at. This will be an interesting match.
Yeah, it could definitely go either way. I'm going with James. I'm pulling for him. I love the way he wrestles. So we'll see if he can make me look good.
All right. If you like the way he wrestles, I'm taking Janzer. There it is. I haven't seen him as much as you have.
He's the closest Rutgers wrestler that lives near me. We're one town away. So.
Okay, there you go. Going to 84 with Michigan State.
Michigan State. So this is a match that actually has already happened. So we've had Caffey against Janzer, and Janzer. It was at the Navy Classic. Janzer just kind of getting his feet wet as a starter for Rutgers, and he dropped the match 6-4. I think Cam Caffey is very good. I think he was around a 16 guy last year, if I'm not mistaken. As I pull up, he was around a 16 guy. 32-9 last year. I'm telling you all this great stuff about him, but I'm picking Janzer again. I just think that Janzer is really one of Rutgers' best guys going forward. One of the best younger guys going forward. I think he's a tough kid, and I like him.
He had I saw him most. I think it was last year at the Princeton Open. Is that right? I'm pretty sure. I watched a couple of his matches.
Janzer?
Yeah, and he wrestled tough. This is one of those ones where Michigan State, right? If they want to show that they're being competitive, they got to reverse this result because just based on wins, Caffey's better. But Janzer owns the wins.
And Caffey's beat him before, so
Caffey's beat him, yes, by 6-4. So it's one of those things, that who's gotten better during the season, right? That was in November.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a tight match. I don't know. I'm taking Janzer again. You convinced me. All right.
All right. I've converted you.
Yeah, you've converted me.
Nice.
Go 97.
Let's see if I could get you to take Pagano over Colin Moore.
I like Pagano, but that is a tough,
great kid. Yeah.
Tough road to hoe. So we got Jordan Pagano versus number 1 Colin Moore. This is going to be a tough match. For Rutgers. I mean,
certainly. Yep.
Moore has. Just remembering right now that Cliff Keen, I think he bonused every match. Maybe there was one match
he was on fire this year. Yeah.
So I'm sure his bonus rate is really high.
86% so far this year.
That's impressive.
Extremely.
I'm looking forward to his match at some point with Darmstadt. That'll be an interesting match.
Yeah, Darmstadt moving back up to 97 now. Yep.
But I'm taking more on this. They have not wrestled, each other. So I'm just based on common opponents and rankings. I've got to go with Colin Moore.
Have to take him. Sure, absolutely. I mean, he's number 1 guy for a reason. I have it as a 4-point decision, but I could see it being a 5-point. I could see a deck fall even here.
Yeah, I think for Pagano, a 3 or 4 point loss, team point loss, is a little bit of a psychological win based on the bonus rate that Moore's been putting up.
Certainly.
Going over to the Michigan State match, then he will face Nick May.
Yep, Nick May. His common opponents. Nick May is 0-8, and Pagano's 4-3. So, just there, you're getting an advantage for Pagano. And here we go again with a guy that, Pagano, highly ranked guy, came in pretty high ranked, and ended up getting pinned against the Maryland kid in the dual meet, kind of hurt his ranking there. And then after that, you had Pagano at the Southern Scuffle. He got into wrestleback, started winning some matches. Two of those matches were by medical forfeit. So would he have beaten Nick Reenan? I don't know, but he got to go forward. Lost a 9-3 match to Dakota Gear and 9-0 to Michael Beard. So I'm looking for Jordan Pagano to come take this match from Nick May. Now, May did beat Carenti earlier this year at, I believe it was the Navy Classic as well.
Don't see it. I do see that he is, based on some of the rankings of the guys that May has lost to, I got to think Pagano, his goal has to be bonus points.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So we'll see what his motor is like, and to me, that's that's the indicator. Is if he gets up to a 4-point decision or more, you got to figure it's a mental win for him.
Sure, absolutely.
Where are we at?
We are at 285 for Ohio State Rutgers.
So we got Christian Colucci, I'm assuming.
Well, let's see. I would have thought that as well. I got someone that told me just last night that he has heard, and this is all rumors and speculation, that Christian Colucci may have a long-term injury here. So we'll have to monitor it. So I'm thinking we might be seeing Alex Esposito, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Colucci did miss the Southern Scuffle. I didn't know the reason why. I assumed it was a bug going around. But like I said, I got a message last night saying that this person may have heard that Colucci might be missing an extended amount of time.
Okay.
And then, as we know, with also Ohio State, Singletary was announced that he's going to miss the rest of the year.
Rest of the season. Yep.
That'll be Gary Traub for Ohio State.
Which makes this match a little more interesting. It could.
Gary Traub, if you remember from last year, he beat Singletary in the wrestle-off.
That's right.
Last
start
year.
The season, yeah.
And Traub is 15-1 this year, 9-1 against D1 opponents. But some of those, at the Cleveland State Open, did he beat anyone of real importance? Not really. So, lost 13-9 to Demetrius Thomas. That's his one loss. He beat the Michigan State kid, who obviously Rutgers will see 2 days after that, 3-2. So he's a match that I think Christian Colucci would have been in. I don't know if Alex Esposito is going to be in that match.
Gotcha. Yeah, looking at his record, it's pretty good, and losing to Demetrius Thomas by just 4 points. Thomas is having a heck of a year.
Mm-hmm.
A heck of a year. So I got to say that it's I'm going Traub.
Yeah, I have to go with Traub as well. I'll go with Traub, and then the next 2 days later, you go to the Michigan State match. I think this is a match where actually Colucci had a head-to-head win against the Michigan State kid, and it was a tiebreaker too. I remember it last year. I was at the match at Rutgers, so that's a match that's a toss-up match. I think Alex Esposito is a step or two behind Colucci. So I'd have to then give this match to Michigan State.
I agree with you. And I'm going to say his name, Christian Roberto.
Sounds good to me.
I apologize, Christian. So what do you have final scores?
Well, so Ohio State, if I go back, I actually had it 25-9, given Rutgers wins at 25-33 and 84. And I have it written down here. My best case scenario for Rutgers would be losing 19-15 if everything went right. And sadly, I could say is that really if things fall off, and I could see this. I hate to say it, I could see this match as a shutout if it really came down to it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So right now I had it 22-10 for
Mhm.
Ohio State. But if everything broke Ohio State's way, right, you could see 10-0.
Sure.
Use that as bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And but I think there should be several competitive matches. It should be a fun duel to watch. You know,
Yep.
there are some new guys in the lineup, so you never know what you're going to get when guys get injured. And there's been a rash of injuries, right? So
Certainly.
and then for Michigan State, what do you got?
I got Rutgers winning 18-12.
That's exactly what I wrote down right next to me.
Look at
18-12. Dan, WrestleStat.
Yep.
Dan, same wavelength. Same wavelength.
So let me do real quick. WrestleStat has the match 19-12 for Ohio State and 28-3 for Rutgers over Michigan State. I don't think we'll see that.
Yeah, especially with if there is the injury at heavyweight, that's a 6-point swing, and so that's why we wrestle the matches.
Well, and I'm sure that 28-3 had it with Carlucci in the lineup.
Exactly.
But,
yeah. All right. Well, Rutgers,
That'll do
Princeton, Ohio State, North Carolina, and NC State wrestling fans, send all your hate mail to WrestleStat Dan. I'm kidding. Getting punchy.
That's all right.
Good talk, and we'll catch up soon. Dan, you there, Dan?
I am.
I don't know what
let me enlarge my screen now. I had you minimized so I can look at